things like that. He's just one of these processes that I never like to count out, regardless, because I think he's just fairly naturally solid.
No, I can get behind that. I think I'm completely with you. Where like, because we don't see GunGfu all the time, so when he does show up, he usually practices a bit in advance of these events, and then boom, he looks so good, you know. So like better than I expect him to. So yeah, maybe I'm kind of hoping this. I'm kind of putting it out there because I kind of want him to come in and be like, no, you know, look how good I am, and like say like, hey, look, I can take on Wayne if you think Wayne's that good. So yeah, no, I'd be excited to see if he can. In the top left, blue Protoss player is GunGFuBanDa.
And in the bottom right, the red Zerg is Wayne. So within regards to Wayne's nickname history, how do you rate his name changes, Wardy, from 1 to 10?
10, absolutely. I just love that on Discord right now, his ID is like Wayne Ratfan. Like, it's just like, you know, like, he just owns it, man.
I mean, like, people have gone through funny name changes, like, you know, going from Vanya, that I thought was a really cool name, actually. Like, I didn't think of anybody else called Vanya in any other scene, and then he went to Ratata, and I was like, really?
Yeah, I know.
Now he's Wayne, which I think is just a funny name.
It's so funny, because, like, I can understand him not wanting to be called Vanya if that's just sort of his name, and it's fairly common in, like, in Russia and stuff, right, as, like, a name. So I'm like, okay, fair enough, like, maybe that isn't as cool of an idea as you want. And then you pick Ratata, and I'm like, I feel like that's also not quite as cool as a name as you might want. And he's like, okay, I get it. I'm going to move on from that. I'm Wayne. It's like, wait, what makes you pick Wayne? Like, is it because it's like, it's kind of like Vanya? It's like, it's got a, you know, kind of the same.
It's kind of like Vanya.
Yeah, if you move the letters around a little bit, like that's what I've kind of thought a couple of times, man.
I can just imagine like some little guy called Wayne. He's like, yeah, I'm Welsh Wayne, and he goes to frickin' Russia, and it's like, yeah, I'm Wayne, and it's like, oh, that's Vanya over here, all right, mate. And it's like, oh, okay. But I think one of my favorite name changes was Soul to Spirit. Just because he was like, when you search Soul on Wikipedia, you know, it comes up with this Team Soul, and then he goes to Spirit, but then Team Spirit in Dota 2 become like the best team, win TI, way more famous than Team Soul ever was. So I dare say he's running into the same problem these days.
I don't even think, was it a team that Spirit had the same name? I think because there was actually an old player that was, I think even UK, that was like Soul as well, and he, I think he popped up when he like went for Soul on Wikipedia, and it was, I'm gonna check now. I mean, you have to check, but like I still think the Team Spirit thing and Spirit is very funny, just because as soon as he did that, and then they became super popular. Like even right now, they just won like the most recent tournament, so really funny for him. Comes out as a 3-way relink, which he didn't used to. I think he did used to default to one of them, but yeah. That was always really funny. I actually kind of like that he renamed it Spirit, which is kind of similar to Soul in a way, right? So. Also, that was kind of cool. But yeah, I didn't think about the fact that the Dota team just became huge.
Yeah, it does not help his Wikipedia problem that it was the main cause for him changing name.
Alright, well, Oracle pops out here. We are going to see, in terms of just gameplay here, GunGfu opting for the Stargate. Very standard so far. Second Oracle even on the way up as well, so nothing really too crazy just yet. As the Oracle heads down the left-hand side. Hatchery is going to finish up on that third base as well. I'm just going to be seeing the, a few drones, the Queen, all coming up as the Spore Crawler comes in also. So just getting that up and running. The Oracle and the Warp Gate coming by. And the Twilight Council setting up on a natural as well.
So far, one of the most standard PvZ openings we've seen today.
Yeah.
GunGfu with that Oracle. Just kind of get between the third and the second base. But upon being there, doesn't really get to do too much, because Wayne's defense so far has been pretty good. Even these drones that wandered over there, still greeted by a couple of Queens. So far, Wayne's done a good job of just making sure he doesn't take any damage. And the third base, as you see from Protoss, this is far more normal than standard. Very quick this game.
It's going to be a Glaives, though, right? I think, out of the Twilight Council.
Yeah.
So he's just going to go, the Twilight's just that fast that it's going to be 2 Oracles into Glaives and just going to put some pressure on before he really looks to focus on the third base. So, yeah, we'll see if Wayne can get the right amount of units up against it. I love the Roach Roar in time, and I think that's going to be well set for him here. Obviously just wants to make sure he doesn't take too much damage initially, and then just has a good round of units for that first wave of Glaives. If he can get to that, then we should be fairly well set.
And in this kind of situation, like I was just wondering, is this the kind of place where GunGFu would want to sacrifice those adepts to deal damage? And you know, you could say if you dealt enough damage, sure, but with the amount of glaved adepts that he could potentially have on the field fairly soon, I mean, he's on 4 gateways, can keep them alive pretty nicely with these oracles as well, which Wayne does respect very, very highly there.
Yeah, it's always tough, right? Because like you give up too many adepts and you get into trouble in so many ways. So gotta kind of be. It's about walking the line. It's almost like situational, game by game. As in this case now, as all these adepts gather up, we're gonna send it. And if Wayne doesn't really have an answer, which I don't think he does, like he's got the roach roam, but he's still droning. Don't get me wrong, GunGFu's on a good word count as well, but I feel like stopping at 62, yeah, stopping at 62 and building roaches would have been better than going to 66 and now building roaches. He even starts a spine, realizing he's in a little bit of trouble.
It was really nice timing. Like 11 drones were just popping as all the adepts were coming across the map. So beautiful timing out of GunGFu. And right now, this is kind of like a sacrificial 4th base from Wayne, which bought him a lot of time from these adepts, honestly. And now these queens, they can fight and buy time. It's all about time buying. Those adepts are blocked by a nice morphing Evo there at the natural. Very nicely done by Wayne. Honestly, Wayne's holding this pretty nicely so far.
Yeah, now the adepts get through the natural, though. Yeah, that's the bigger problem, because now he's going to have to play catch-up, and he doesn't really have any roaches preemptively over here. He does have a spine, though, which is going to take a bit of attention. Spines are so annoying because you can't actually just, like, A-click and get adepts naturally. You have to target fire drones specifically, and so that's actually kind of an annoyance that the adepts will face. 6 drones go down. I honestly still feel like that's pretty okay, although I guess GunGFu's also on a worker lead, so kind of just a wild time in general, man.
Yeah, the scary thing for GunGFu, which is a big counterattack, but he's been prepping pretty nicely for, because I look at his side of things, he's been pumping out immortals, he's already on his robo facility, so behind it, it's not as if he wasn't macroing, he was macroing pretty decently. I say that as he's on 1,000 minerals, but that's just a lot of minerals that is going to become units very soon, and it can be nice infrastructure. You see here, he's making a nice wall off at his 3rd base as well, something that we haven't seen utilized too much from the Process today, but so far, I think he's playing solid behind this. And I was a bit scared that Wayne was just going to throw it because he had a lot of oversupply there from a lot of overlords. But he's just being calm and he's honkering down here, 4th and 5th base simultaneously, along with the Infestation Pit.
Yeah, the Infestation Pit is about to be done, so Wayne is going to macro up a little bit. Took a little while to kind of get back on track, so maybe he'd still be afraid if GunGFu found a fight. And he is kind of Prism, so we'll see how aggressive he gets. But Wayne finally getting on his feet with his work count, that Infestation Pit coming up, he's getting Bane speed. I got a lot of good things now on the way from him, just definitely did stumble a bit over the depths.
Yeah, certainly. Wayne with good vision on the map, though. He's kind of spotting on out where the 4th could potentially be from his opponent. We'll see when it's going down, but GunGFu, he is here to greet Wayne on his side of things, and GunGFu's army does take a bit of a splat in there from some corrosive biles, but it's a strong army. It really is. Like, this is not easy to take out.
Yeah, it's just dangerous, right? And you don't have Bane speed yet. The Disruptors are so good at zoning. If the Pro can just walk up and take position, there's nothing you can do to protect that hatchery, so Wayne just lets it go. Now the Disruptor's a little bit in the front, so he's able to jump on one. Corrosive biles will chase the others away. It's actually going to chase, because now obviously the Disruptors are used. If they're on cooldown, he actually just grabs the second one. Not much to stop him here. The force field will buy a few seconds. Now the Lings come around the other side, and Wayne is really punishing GunGFu for this hatchery kill, and the fact he tried to stick around a little bit longer afterward.
Yeah, they both have a lot of money in the bank, actually. Like, he's now on 2 forges, which will help him get the upgrade lead if he does want to go for it. He's starting his 4th base now, but again, that 4th base was very delayed compared to where it wanted to be. And Wayne, he's not in the Stone Age when it comes to deck. He's actually halfway to Hive here, and that will absolutely bolster his army and allow him to get Vipers out, which will deal with a lot of these scary units like Disruptors. But he's already doing pretty good against them.
Yeah, I was going to say a couple of Vipers and just makes life a whole lot easier, right? As Stalkers come through, a couple of Creep Tumors coming in. Our Ling's going to work up that right-hand side and go after a couple of Adepts, so we'll just grab both of those nice and quickly there. And our Ling Roach Ravager will continue around this direction, heading up to the top, but Lings are going to be there. Stasis Ward is going to pop. And a few of those Lings getting caught as a couple of cannons continue up, Zelds coming through. We do have our units continuing by, a couple more Corrosive Biles, just going to hit the few Stalkers. And the Balins will pop on the far right-hand side of the map. They're going to pop up, head in toward that mineral line for the next few moments. And again, these few Zerglings are going to rejoin everything else. I love this now, the multi-prong coming in. Wayne hits the top right, he depowers some of the, well, he just hits some pylons in general, now 16 probes. So his opponent was supply blocked a few moments, which isn't pretty when this fight is already happening. Another pylon going to get corrosive piled down. I like what Wayne's getting done so far. Even Bane's now coming from the other side and crashing into a few Stalkers already to help out as well. He's really just going to throw himself right in the mix of this.
I'll tell you what, though, that overcharge did last for quite a long time there, Wardy, and now the Stalker's feeling confident enough to blink on. This is just Ravagers left over. I don't think most of them aren't making it home here, and they are very high value, 100, 100 apiece, and GunGFuBanDa definitely makes Wayne feel the burn while he headed on home there.
Yeah, I think Wayne, when he stepped forward with the Ravagers on that left side, was just a step too far. I think he was actually doing pretty well, but then he gave up a lot of units he didn't have to. He obviously thought he maybe had enough to break, but that was a missed call as now Disruptors continue back up from GunGFu. He lost a lot of pros, but he's quick to rebuild them. And his economy does not look bad coming out of all of this. So you see Wayne, obviously 6 base on the right-hand side. He has got bases to work with. His Viper's now on the way, so starting to see some of that tech we mentioned earlier finally come to fruition. It kind of feels like he needs it, because clearly this army he's had so far is just not quite capable of taking on what GunGFu's been working with.
Yeah, if there's one unit that GunGFu really would love in his mixture right now, whether he can afford it or not is a different question, or a different story, it'd be High Templars, man. They're pretty good against most of these units that Wayne has on the field, and these Stalkers, they're getting a big wraparound on them from lots of Ling, lots of Bane, and GunGFu does head home. 2-2 is about to finish for him, but Wayne's getting Adrenal Glands, as you said, the Vipers as well, and he's sitting very pretty, and GunGFu, I said his macro was like, he was doing lots of stuff behind it, but I constantly see that mineral count floating pretty high, and 10 Stalkers immediately in there. I mean, he's playing Zest style over here.
Yeah, he's got a bank so he can warp in whatever he wants when he needs it. Only that's not so great when you actually need to warp in a few times over and the cooldown kicks in. As Wayne will come forward. This time he's got the Vipers, probably just going to look for an abductor, so he only loses a couple of Banelings there initially. The Stalkers should look for Vipers here. That's an easy 1-2 pick. I feel like those Vipers were not quite ready to abduct, honestly. And Stasis Sword going to catch some units, and we're back to just basic Roach Ravager, a handful of Banelings trying to fight. Corrosive Biles are landing, though, so we're taking good fights. And if we blink forward when these units pop out of Stasis, that could be scary, but so will this. Oh, my goodness.
I tell you, this is a bloodbath of a game, man. I feel like they're both very evenly matched in these fights, and blinking on no, trapping them in there with you. I mean, the Banelings will deal some damage, but holy crap. And what's happened in the main base? A nice warping from GunGFu. Wardy, this is a real good game between these guys.
I think GunGFu's playing a better game than Wayne, actually. I think Wayne's maybe being propped up a little bit mechanically compared to GunGFu. Like, he's not floating the money as often. Now he is, but previously he's been able to rebuild a couple times faster, and a lot of that's just GunGFu not spending his money. But I think GunGFu's taking very good fights. He's 5,000 resources lost better off. He's doing a great job, and yeah, we'll see if Wayne can still maybe try and steal this from him as he's maxed out again. He's coming across. Wayne was like, man, I built 2 Vipers, they sucked. He's not going to build any more, so he doesn't replace those. I just feel like more of this lower tech unit army without really adding anything else in is not really going to do it. Like I said, I just don't think that's going to be enough for him.
No, I mean, GunGFu's getting bigger and stronger, and I mean, his tech is pretty massive, and he's actually utilizing these disruptors really damn well. They're constantly at the back of his army, and I gotta give him kudos as well. Those Viper snipes with the Stalkers were clean, Wardy. It looked like they couldn't do anything, those Vipers, and getting 3-3 on the go as well. Like, his army is absolutely stacked.
Yeah, there shouldn't be a way for Wayne's army to really keep on fighting. GunGFu is just getting better and better. You can see confident blink forwards right now, chasing down some Ravagers. A couple of Roaches on top as well, why not? And these are the problems that Wayne faces, that he just can't afford to keep letting this happen. And yet, well, what else can you really do, I suppose, is the question. Not really a lot, honestly.
No, I mean, when you've got +1 Roaches, and I mean, what are these Lings at? Let's have a look, see, they're at +2. That's not bad on the Lings, but he's going to be against 3-3 Protoss very soon. I mean, that is real damn brutal. And when you've got such high-powered units in the mix as well, lots of Immortals, these Disruptors, he's feeling so confident that he's kind of moving out on creep. I say that as he moves back, but he's got Disruptor shots for days here.
Yes, he does. Disruptor's firing through, a couple of roaches going down. Another disruptor shot from the top. Not really the best disruptors, but of course they're still forcing, like here, just forcing Wayne to back away. But he's lost 11 drones during this, so damage being done on the other side of the map as Wayne is chasing GunGfu. But again, how far can he really chase before GunGfu just gets to a point where he's absolutely stable and Wayne is being punished for continuing to push in?
Yeah, and you constantly see these disruptors fly on out here, and they're both losing workers. One little immortal, feeling immortal, walking right on into that army, and lots of units do march on through. A random disruptor shot in the back of the base there. I mean, this is getting very chaotic, and they are still very close in supply, both neck and neck when it comes to workers. It just feels like GunGfu's army is reaching the point where it's very hard to deal with, but kudos to Wayne as well. He is absolutely trading, man.
Yeah, Wayne's been mining more, but obviously a few losses there, and now it's a little bit closer than it was. He needs to be mining more because GunGfu's trading better. Wayne's had the bases, or access to bases, that helps him out with that as he dives in again. These Lings helping to get a catch on, well, the Archon. The Disruptor shot does not really hit anything. The Roaches are a better target, and you will get a couple of them. And Wayne, once again, just has to back away and not continue to commit into this position as he kind of felt like he wanted to, but no, he's going to have to try and find other things to do at this point in time.
Wayne throws that plan into the scrap, and he's like, you know what? Back to plan B. We go to the Vipers once again, try and pick off some of these meaty units at the back, because he's splitting good, and he's splitting decently. Like, these disruptors could be far more effective if he wasn't splitting like he is and doing these big old wraparounds, but eventually you're going to need to fight this army head on, and Vipers are one way to do it. Even with Blinding Clouds against the mix could absolutely help out.
Yeah, I mean, just tech in general. I'm honestly disappointed that Wayne gave up on it so quickly, because, like, yeah, the first two Vipers didn't do great. You did kind of fly them right over Stalkers, like GunGfu did the thing, like, you know, you could have used them better. And, yeah, I mean, right now these Vipers come in, we get one abducted off, the other one flew again right over the Archons. Corrosive Files are going to land, and Wayne muster up a defense here, as obviously he's basically on top of his own hatchery, so he will get reinforcements in quickly. He is getting rid of some of the tech units, and he honestly puts a good fight to it for a while. Extra Roach is showing up as well. We'll get rid of the Archon, and GunGfu might get pushed back one more time still before he wins.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. The thing is, 19 drones went down. Like, we've been watching these fights just because they've been so damn cool, but a lot of the battle has been about what's been happening in the main and peripheral bases of Wayne, because I'm looking at the minimap, Wardy. Hive is gone. Absolutely gone. Like, those Zealots over there, they're here, there, and everywhere. GunGfu's been killing Wayne from the inside out.
Yep, no, absolutely. That's just what Wayne has not been able to keep up with, especially when you've been trading badly. You need your economy to be overwhelming. Keeping the opponent to 4 bases was probably one of the win conditions for Wayne, but he had to keep some amount of eco alive himself, and that just has not happened. Zealots are still going untouched back at home. Wayne finally turns back around. He has to rebuild the pool. We're even going to see GunGfu just getting the Dark Shrine up to give him even more options here at this point in time.
Absolutely here, and yeah, the bleeding just doesn't stop. Like, Wayne at this point is not actually mining any gas, and granted, he's got quite a lot of gas in the bank, but GunGfu, again, the story is pretty clear this game. His units are just better and better upgraded. 3-0 Lings are very, very solid, but he is against a hell of a lot of tech. Seeing this probe line go to that base without a Nexus definitely can make you breathe a sigh of relief if you're Wayne, but doesn't exactly spell victory or anything when he's in such dire straits on his side of things.
Yeah, that's a lot of Ling Ravager, but he needs like a magnificent fight, and that's going to be hard to come by with the armies that are in play on both sides. GunGfu, I can understand his caution, right? Every time he's moved out, he kind of doesn't quite end the game. You know, actually stopping to secure a 5th base is great, and I love that he takes his forward base ones, because I feel like that's a much easier base to hold than trying to push out the left side, which he's done a couple times, so pretty big fan of this, and I think just doing the right things. That run by is still setting up. Wayne shouldn't really recover from having time here. I mean, he starts to rebuild up a lair and everything, and there's DTs that are going to start making their way onto bases. That's going to be an issue he has to deal with. He doesn't have spores everywhere because it's been a very tense game. He hasn't had time or money to build those. So yeah, this looks as though GunGfu is really getting ready to put some final touches on this game number 1.
Absolutely. Like, those Zealots as well, like, you know, you often think about it, but when you have 3-3, even if you are against +3 Adrenal Lings, like, you're 2-shotting the Lings and they're still taking quite a bit of time to really hunker you down. So these Zealot run-bys have actually been a real nuisance, man. Like, a super nuisance, and GunGFu's just playing very nicely strategically, just dealing with the economy. And I mean, I want to see how many workers have been killed this game. 91 drones, that number is climbing, 51 probes. Like, this has absolutely been chaos. It's fantastic stuff. And again, like, they're both dealing lots of economic damage to one another.
Yep, they really are. I mean, Wayne is absolutely going to try and keep himself in it, but he has to get rid of this army somehow. And this is more Archons and more Immortals than he's ever had to fight at one time before. Disruptor shot is good on the Ravagers, and that should be a good night to Wayne in this first game. He has no way, surely. There's a couple more corrosive files come about. The Prism's still hanging out there. That's going to be GG's, as GunGFu is going to take game number 1. And he is going to get the advantage over Wayne here, getting it done. As he's able to just stay on holding on, right? Like, he just plays defensive, he plays it safe, and he just is able to kind of deal with what Wayne throws at him. After getting a bit of an edge early, right? Come back to those depths, Wayne was not prepared there, and he definitely had some troubles from that moment. So that's one thing to remember, that the opening was definitely good for GunGFu as well.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's kind of surprising to see, isn't it? Because you kind of talked about how you kind of class Wayne as the favorite here, and yeah. I wouldn't necessarily disagree with you. They've both definitely had their eras, and I'm just looking at the players that they've played so far. Like Wayne's Road, he went 2-1 against Young Yakov, 1-2 against Clem. Like, could have been looking at a completely different story for him. GunGFu lost 0-2 against Gerald, which, is that a surprise or not? I mean, Gerald at some points in time has also been like a guy that vied for top 8 in Europe.
Yeah.
But yeah, these two duking it out. They're definitely strong next contenders in this group for really fighting for those qualifier spots. Like, absolutely both of them.
No, it's fun. I just love seeing GunGFu show up, because like, he really doesn't play a lot of StarCraft. But I'm gonna see what he's been playing before kind of ESL, because like, he just sort of shows up for this, and then, like I say, it's always impressing me that these guys can show up after not having played for a long time. They come into this event, and then they look as good as they do. Like I say, it surprises me, because we know Wayne is playing and grinding day in and day out. It ain't easy to take a map off this guy, and yeah, then GunGFu comes in and he looks really good for himself. Yeah, basically the last time GunGFu played was back in the Summer Regionals. Like, he hasn't played an official match in 5 months, and here he is 1-0 up against Wayne at a 1-1 scoreline in the group stage. That's crazy.
It actually is crazy, and I've got a little story about GunGFu as well from quite some time ago. This was during a tournament of Fragbite. He made top 4, and he booked his flight home before the beforehand, right? Like, he thought he was going to get knocked out because he was playing like thing, and he ended up winning. And he was really stressed out at the time. Like, the kid was only 16. Now he's quite a bit older, obviously, but he was 16 because he booked like an internship that he had to be back for, and he didn't plan on winning, even though he made top 4 of this tournament. I think he came 3rd place overall. But I thought that was like so lovely to see, that he was like doing his thing in real life, playing the games. And when I spoke to him at the time, I remember him just saying he had a really fun time playing, and he's obviously quite talented, So yeah, it's nice to see these guys still duking and jiving, still playing, and yeah, even though he's doing other things on the side, absolutely still damn good at StarCraft.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I know Roddy always talked about GunGFu being the kind of guy who would just like get home from work, log in, and play the Open Cup, and just bash a few nerds in, win a couple matches. Kind of crazy that he's just always had that kind of like, work StarCraft balance, I guess, where like he's never really like fully sent out. He might have done at one point, but he's always been a player that's not always fully sending it full time into StarCraft. He's always had other things going on as well, so it's definitely not the story you hear all the time. You hear a lot of people who give it full time, even if it's just for a year or two, right? Like, and then they really do drop off. But GunGFu's really maintained it, even when he does have work and whatever else he gets up to.
Yeah, solid player. At his heights, he's hit like 6.9k MMR in Europe, which, that's really damn high. And those are the times that he took down likes of Clem and stuff in ESL. And also being a guy that absolutely has the potential top 12, top 8 in Europe. This game, we do see a very similar opening for GunGFu. Will be the Stargate, getting a nice scout off early on with his probe as well. And Wayne, few little lings out and about early on just to make sure he can get that 3rd base nicely in there.
Yep. Stargate's about halfway done, and we just see that ling speed come through. Will Wayne I mean, let's see what GunGFu does, right? Because if he doesn't Adept, I wonder how he will try and carve out the advantage, which was kind of necessary. Like, it was a close enough game that if he didn't have the edge off the Adepts, maybe Wayne would have just kind of, beat him up earlier on. So we'll see what GunGFu does this time to try and, again, maybe stabilize the lead, or to see if he can just be defensive enough without having taken an edge with something like those glaive Adepts last time.
Absolutely. Speed coming online fairly soon. A few extra links coming out, but most likely just for defensive purposes. Most Zergs kind of know how to dance and tango early on, but that is enough to be a bit scary. And hold the phone. This isn't the first time we've seen this today, Wardy. Little old fleet beacon on the way.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what we're on about, right? Like a little bit of a switch up, a little bit of something else. So fleet beacon, it's going to be here from GunGFu as he gets this ready to go. Oh, interesting. Was it this map as well that we went fleet beacon on earlier? It was, right?
Exactly.
It's so interesting because to me it's not
just
like,
reverse positions.
Yeah, it doesn't scream as the sort of map where it's like, let's fleet beacon here. But yeah, fleet beacon's going to finish. No second Stargate, so let's see what we produce out of the single Stargate. This time it is just one Tempest, and okay. Interesting. Different, but similar.
Very interesting, because so there is a second Stargate, but it's, not lined up with it. But GunGFu isn't the kind of, like, say if this was Haas doing this, which he actually did do this earlier. I could be like, oh, this is like mistimed, but GunGFu is obviously the kind of guy that is pretty clean about his builds and his openings. So this is absolutely what he's planned for. And Wayne, he's doing a decent job of scouting the peripherals of the base here, just with a couple of links. You see them dancing about just to try and find out what's happening, and it is pretty much mirrored with what Haas did earlier, Wardy. Tempest, tectonic stabilizers. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, the second Stargate I think is a bit later from GunGFu, but the general idea is obviously very similar. Now he's going to crank out 2 Tempests at a time. Looks though he will not reveal them either until he's closer to getting tectonic, so we'll wait for that upgrade. That increases the Tempest damage to structures, so it's specifically to help you snipe, I imagine, this third base, and I guess that's what we play around. Maybe just the fact that there's like this space here, maybe you can kind of make the Queens go around the top or around the bottom, but never really push the Tempest fully back. So, there's always somewhere for the Tempest to go where they can't be chased by the ground units. And obviously Wayne, Lao on the way up, we'll see how quickly he gets into Aspire. Generally, he's going to need to scout this before he makes that choice.
Certainly is. It's just an awkward one. Like, I look at this, and I was doing what you were doing, just looking at where you can get damage done or how you get damage done, because it doesn't look easy. And you see here, this third base obviously getting denied for quite some time. Forge on the go as well for GunGFu, most likely for cannons in this kind of situation. All right. Hydralisk then is the tech of choice, but did he spot Tempest just yet? I don't think so. And right now, whoa, now he knows. Now he knows without Overseer in the main base. Now he knows that he's against double Stargate and Tempest. Is he going to continue with the Hydras? Because I don't think Hydras are the best unit against them. Obviously on an open field they are, but
if they close the distance, absolutely, but closing the distance, like I say, like if you work around this area here, you don't ever really get to close the distance, as first couple shots go a couple different places. We start to hit that hatchery, man. The hatchery takes so much damage. A Queen goes down, high energy Queen as well, so actually a pretty big Queen to be losing. As you do see the Spore Crawler taking a couple shots as well. Tempest still firing up. A couple of Queens on the top side, still taking some hits.
When I think about it, Wardy, this big ravine on the left side here, that's a pretty nice spot to kind of dance around on this third base. And I mean, 5 Tempests, it's a pretty magic number for one-shotting these Queens. This is getting out of control.
This is bad, man. 8 Hydras on the way, but boy, do they need a shot. I mean, this hatchery's going to die. So that's just gone. Man, this build is good, apparently. It's really good.
It deals a lot of damage. Yeah, deals a lot of damage. And now these Tempests, they're pretty quick. Like, are they one of the units that got changed in a patch? Like, they're a little bit faster now with their return rate and acceleration. And look at these Hydras. They don't cut it.
No, these Hydras are not cutting it at all, as the Tempest will just go wild on a couple of Overlords as well. Wayne is going to continue taking damage. GunGFu just needs to make sure that if Wayne finds a counterattack, he would have a way to deal with it. So Twilight on the way up, preparing himself over there. I like that he's hunting Overlords. It's the kind of thing that would slow Wayne down with a follow-up attack or so. And like I said, I think that's the one thing you got to be really careful of right now if Wayne just gets across the map with everything. And yeah, this is crazy, because now we're picking through the main base. We're going to start getting drones. There's another dead Queen. The Hydras can't come and fight, because if they start moving forward, the Tempests just back away. And then the Tempest get some free shots off. Yeah, they maybe could have moved a little bit better there, but Yep, still going to get rid of a bunch of Hydras.
You know what surprised me the most about this game? The fact that Wayne started that Spire only 50 seconds ago. Like, that's pretty damn huge here, Wardy. Like, absolutely huge. He's done a good job of denying the extra bases. Okay, one Tempest does fall here. That's nice for him, but GunGFu, I feel that all the damage he's done, it's exactly what he needed to get done and what he set out to get done. But that's a lot of Lings here, and they are dealing with this. They have +1.
Yep, they're doing better than expected. The Zealot count not quite good enough. The Tempests are still being controlled on the other side. GunGFu is going to start taking a supply lead in the game. Just kind of needs a warp in back at home. Corruptor's coming out. We lose another Tempest as the Hydras. Man, I'm surprised the Hydras reach far enough to get the Tempest in the couple of positions they've died in. So GunGFu going to be feeling a little bit worse for wear there, losing a couple of those.
Oh, and these warping of Stalkers. I mean, the shield batteries were not done in time, and these Tempests are still wreaking havoc over here, but those extra units from Wayne definitely did quite a lot of damage, and one Corruptor. Okay, upon seeing that, that was enough. That was enough to scare the life out of those Tempests. They were like, get us out of here, right now.
Yeah, that was that's kind of wild, man. Let's just see how our Stalkers and the Sentry coming up. We're just going to be seeing everything getting set back at home. Wayne does have a 4th base up at right. He's going to take a 5th in that triangle, which got denied earlier. And he does just about squeak back ahead of supply lead, but he's losing another Corruptor. Well, Voidry is here to support these Tempests now.
I wonder, like, so he's obviously got +1 weapons and he's going for charge. I think those are nice moves here. They're kind of decent against everything on the ground besides Banelings, and if the Hydra count gets super damn high, but... Oh, okay, switching out of the charge, going back to Blink. Interesting. And he's obviously a little bit scared about the number of Corruptors, but it's also like having those Corruptors out means less ground army to deal with your ground. So I'm very curious. How does Wayne feel that this game is going so far? Like, because in a very scrappy situation, it's very hard to really showcase like where you and your opponent's at. So does he honker down on Corruptors a little bit? Does he just poke and scout? Because GunGFu's getting up to 4 bases and just kind of going to something very normal and standard after all that craziness.
Yep. No, it's I feel like the problem is for Wayne, he's going to be a step behind. So now his armies, no matter what, is going to be kind of awful, right? So we're seeing the big Corruptors coming around the top side. The Lings are going to come in. Going to go after that Nexus. They got to cancel, so that's one of the things GunGFu was not great at last game. He struggled to get a 5th base. Now he might struggle to get a 4th. He loses one High Templar, looking to save the other one. Oh my goodness, just stays alive. Corruptors move into the main base, but the Void Rays are going to take these Corruptors out, but not before Storm gets denied. Oh my goodness.
Killing all these Corruptors, this might be a moment where you kind of honker down on the carrier kind of situation, or more Tempest, because Tempest's pretty good against these Hydras. Tempest is terrible in a normal kind of situation, but where you just need to stay alive and keep your opponent away from you. I don't know. This is actually very wild here, because Wayne's absolutely going to send everything he has.
Yeah, no, he's just going to completely commit, and again, without that splash damage, you could be in some trouble. Tempests are good at kind of slowing down and kind of picking at these attacks from afar, but when these units actually already close the distance, it's going to be a lot tougher. A couple force fields go down, the Bane lanes crush down the sentries, so they are gone. Honestly, static defense might be a big part of this right now as the Hydras take a step back, waiting for even more units to show up. A few Banes on the left side. Won't do too much, giving GunGFu time to finish up his +2 attack as well, so... GunGFu, I feel like he's getting himself some time. May lose the 4th base once more, and how long can he stay on 3 bases and kind of say that this is going to be okay for him? Not too much longer, I feel like.
No, definitely not. Like, his supply is dwindling, and he's having to avoid Baneling hits on the left side, or this is just probes coming over. They are, they're brave, Wardy. They're brave. They're actually being pulled into the fight here, so GunGFu feeling very desperate here, realizing, like, oh my goodness, I need to do something now. Doesn't have shield battery overcharge available for this fight, but Wayne's army is getting whittled down. But behind it, he has a really good economy.
Yep, just going to be seeing these, Tempests continue to fight, the Hydras continue to take damage, just going to be seeing the Hydras continue to come through as Tempests continue to back away. Stalkers will be fighting as well as the Lings and the Hydras just jump on top, and Wayne's force is just going to be too much. Man, GunGFu, it just all went wrong. Those Corruptors sniping the Storm. Storm would have obviously made a massive difference here. Wow, what a game by Wayne if he actually ends up winning this out. He's not quite going to break through just yet, but even just having GunGFu pinned on 3 bases, Wayne has 78 drones. He will rebuild off of 5 bases, and he should honestly break through eventually.
These Tempests are king in this fight, though, but you're absolutely right. Picking off that Storm absolutely was what Wayne needed to make any of this work. And these Tempests, I'm clicking on the kills, Wardy. We have 16, 17, 13, and 18. So all these guys have picked off a lot of very valuable units. And it's not just Lings. It's like the drones, the queens, and a lot of Hydras. A lot of Hydras. And Wayne, that drone count, 86. Like, GunGFu's in that horrible position where it's like, if you move out, you're probably dead. And also, if you don't move out, you're very behind in economy. Wayne's got him right where he wants him.
Yep. Just going to be seeing the army just setting up this force of Wayne, getting set to go towards the upper left-hand side. As we have our Tempests, so going to go and maybe fire a couple shots off. I just taking damage. Okay.
Tempests have been really good against these Hydras.
Yeah, like, they actually are good as long as the Hydras never get on top of somewhere they want to stand and fight, right? Because they will just get kited and they die so quickly as well, so yeah, they do pretty well. Obviously, Storm is now available. We will Storm here to try and help out a little bit, and it just feels like there's so much supply of Wayne that GunGFu is going to... I mean, GunGFu just needs the 4th base is what it comes down to, but the moment to have gotten that 4th base up is kind of gone. He's already going to get punished as Wayne comes running forward. Let's see if he can find a defense. Storm on the Ling should absolutely help. One more Storm on the Hydras. It's not a lot of Hydras here. It's mostly Zerglings. Tempest just going to keep targeting down the Hydras. Zealots get warped in, and GunGFu's supply is actually going to take a pretty good step forward. The Banelings do not hit the Zealots, and GunGFu will turn Wayne away again.
GunGFu's going full Sparta on Wayne this game, isn't he? Like, he's just holding where he shouldn't really be holding with inferior numbers, and Wayne's really funny about leaks, but... yeah, these Tempests, man, I almost feel like he needs to kind of say, you know what, they're going to Corruptors again just to get rid of them. Just literally to get rid of them at this point.
No, I mean, there's not really anything else to like save the Tempest from Corruptors, right? So it would not be a bad call as they're going to step forward here, and they're just going to get a few shots off. Hydra's trying to chase. He gets out of reach. That's important. We had a couple moments when they were harassing the main base where they just didn't pull back in time, and the Hydras got kills. I mean, imagine he saw 2 extra Tempests as well, right? And that's what he lost on the other side, so... would have been that much better. Man, he just cannot for the life of him save this 4th base, which makes sense. The 3rd is choked up and it had a bit of stack defense on it. He has to save the 4th, though. Like, without this 4th base, he really can't stay in this game economically. But he's now killing some drones while also starting to take this fight. Good split back from that Storm from Wayne, but then we actually do have another Storm landing. The Archon's doing great against the Banes. And once more, the Hydras are being chased away, and GunGFu is kind of doing it. He needs these Archons desperately against these Zerglings right now.
This is such a funny game, man. I actually can't believe that GunGFu's still holding, but I also kind of can't believe that Wayne is still not able to break him. Like, I dare say if you watched any other Zerg, they'd have busted the Zerg right, or busted the Protoss right now just by adding something else besides Ling Hydra, but Wayne loves his Ling Hydra, man. He really does. And he's on so many bases behind this. Like, I am not saying that Wayne is throwing, but he's making a meal out of it.
Yeah, no, he absolutely is. Uh-oh, these Tempests are now out in the open. Hydras are going to start catching. The Tempests don't have anywhere to get to stop the Hydras chasing them. 2 Tempests going down. They've been such heroes in this game. As Zealots are in the main base, but yeah, GunGFu got a little too comfortable there. Letting those Tempests go forward is a shame, because I actually think they've been a big part of defending. They've gotten so many kills, and now there's going to be so much less.
Absolutely. Like, those 2 that are still alive, 27 and 28 apiece. Like, that is value. And remember, like, when they're attack moving in these fights, they're only shooting valuable targets like these Hydras. And that's been pretty much all the damage that Wayne's had. And, oh, lots of Banelings coming in from the south here on that base. And nice probe movements very quickly. Is that your only Robo dead there? Oof.
Yeah, it is. Only Robo of the game going down. I mean, it feels as though GunGFu just got the 4th base up. Like, he finally felt as though actually this was going to be good for him. But then Wayne also slowed it down, and Wayne slowed it down and rebuilding fully and just properly. Feels like it's done him a couple of favors too. Now he's going to be almost maxed out before they fight again. He's going to have a lot of power to it, and it just feels as though it's going to be tough for GunGFu to keep fighting. He's kept fighting so far, but times are definitely getting tougher. I love that the Prism's still here, though. I mean, a few Zealots could still absolutely force Wayne back and could get good damage done, as we are going to try and clean up some of the creep. The main army is pushing forward here from GunGFu. He cannot fight in definitely not on creep. Even in an open position, I'd be extremely worried for him.
Absolutely. And Wayne, he's got a 3k gas bank behind all this. He's going up to Hive here, which I think you absolutely can afford in this situation. 84 drones against 52. He's sitting pretty. And the creep spread, it's not in GunGFu's base just yet, but it's pretty nice. Like, his veil of security is very solid here, and he's getting air upgrades. Like, he's getting every upgrade that he can kind of muster at this point. I dare say, I'd probably be thinking about some either mutas to start shutting down that warp prism so you can focus fully on the aggression over this. But yeah, he's definitely dialed it back a gear, hasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, he really has. The 5th tries to come up here. That will not go up. Obviously, units are right next to it, so it's a very easy denial. And yeah, I mean, Wayne just saying, I'll get up to Hive Tech. I'm going to take even more bases myself. Like, okay, you got to 4 base, but I'm going to improve so much more than what your 4 base improvement gives you. As, the only thing I'll say is GunGFu's worker count is low enough, because obviously he's made a natural mined out. He doesn't need more workers to saturate the bases he has. If he was to ever actually max, he'd have one massive army.
Yeah, you know, some Zergs, I'll see there. Oh my god, that's so much Zerg, actually.
Storms?
So much Zerg.
Oh my god, the storms, though.
Oh
my god!
Oh, dude, is Wayne going to lose this game, Wardy?
A fight like that, he is.
Look at his bank. Look at his bank.
He's
I was
got
just going to comment. Yeah, I was going to comment. He has gas for days, but oh my goodness, did it all.
I mean, the only thing is he's making a lot of Lings, and to be fair, the army of GunGFu is not great against Lings right now. Like, he could really do just more Zealots, Archons, maybe some more Stormy boys. I guess the Lings do not have Adrenal yet, which actually be good to stop if these Zealots can get there. I mean, GunGFu's got the right idea of just pushing. He's going to find Overlords. He's got a supply lead, 35 army ahead, reinforcing Zealots from across the map. I think GunGFu just stormed his way to victory at 20 minutes on site to hell. That fight, I was waiting for Wayne to pull back, and it just got worse and worse.
He really didn't see that going as badly as it did, Wardy. He absolutely did not. And oh my goodness, yeah, I mean, the last remaining High Templar here is 14 kills. He must have had a good, like, 7 or 8 of them, right, just landing. But, yeah. Oh, that 5k gas is the saddest 5k gas I've ever seen, because very often I'll see Zergs with, like, you know, 3k minerals and no gas whatsoever. Wayne went complete opposite end of things and can't afford anything that he needs. I mean, that's enough gas for how many? Like, I want to say, like, 30 infestors, and that's ridiculous.
39 kills and 33 kills on the 2 Tempests, by the way. They have been heroes throughout this game. They've been here from the very get-go, and wow, I mean, what a way to basically end it on. What a fantastic game. Partially fantastic because some of the mistakes made, but just in general fantastic. I mean, GunGFu could genuinely fight the units in the main base right now, and he's been a little bit overly cautious, in fact. Maybe giving Wayne more of a chance than he should, but he does take the chance to get a 5th base up, and that's a huge access point for him.
Yeah, I do kind of like the patience from him, though, Wardy. Like, he's between rallies from the main base and here, there, and everywhere, and it does get very tricky for a Zerg player. He also knows there's an army in that main, and from this position, like, he can do this on this base that he's doing with the Tempest. He can also kind of shut down that triangular 3rd if he wants to, and he's got vision with the obs. Yeah, what? GunGFu. Look at the resources Lost have as well, Wardy. Like, this is it's that kind of game.
17,000 difference. Yeah, Wayne's really thrown everything, the kitchen sink and more, at GunGFu throughout this game, but it's apparently just not been enough. But it probably was enough if he hadn't walked into all the storms, but yeah, I mean, GunGFu hasn't reinforced this army for a little bit, so this is the kind of the scary part of having waited around over here. Storm on the ramp, going to hit the Hydras nicely. Again, not great against Lings as this army. He's going to recall now. And like I said, I think that's a chance for Wayne to actually get a few kills. I agreed with the patience, but like, if you're not going to reinforce, there's many a time he could have recalled at some point there and just rejoined with what is already like a completely new army on this left side, essentially.
And this army is not the kind of army that you can just bust down some spine crawlers with. It needs those Immortals that you walk back. Uh-oh, these Tempests need to get out of there, though. No, they're finally down.
The champions.
The game's getting crazy, though, Wardy. We've got Zealots in the top north side of the map, and no army down here to stop this base from getting absolutely massacred. I mean, these guys, they are made for good games between each other.
Yeah, they really are. As GunGFu actually has lost control of the army supply, he actually builds it back up now with 4 more High Templar Zealots. I mean, GunGFu just has bases he's never had access to before, right? So he's got like fresh bases mining up. We're going to see Lings running over here, but the Zealots and Archons, I don't think we can really do too much with these Lings. The Hydras and the couple of Banes that we got go around the left-hand side. The Baneliners did survive those Zealots on that base previously, so that's good news. So we can actually get even more Banelings up. They may still be very important in this game, as a couple of these Hydras are going to eat a storm, because GunGFu actually has a lot of storms currently available. Those High Templars are ready to make the next big storm montage whenever Wayne takes a fight.
Yeah, I'm curious what Wayne wants to do with his gas, honestly. I think at this point, even though, you know, he's been reset, I'd actually probably just drop a lurker down or something. Like, just slicing that gas, or, you know, because he's got a lot of Hydras out on the field. Just anything to start spending it. It's this one resource that he has way too much of.
Very true. As those Lings get turned around at the top, Zealots and Archons get over there. The rest of this army of GunGFu going to head bottom left. That hatchery is going to go down. And so this one they try to set up will fall, but Wayne is going to get the top right base up and running. GunGFu with, obviously, again, I think a lack of confidence, right? Like, he's really unsure about just sort of sending it. He's really not convinced he's just going to be able to get it done if he, you know, commits. And I kind of agree at this one, because Wayne's rebuilt a lot, so why not just wait for Wayne to attack as the storms start off very nicely. Another storm. Oh, wow.
I think this, if I interview Wayne after this game and be like, hey man, who's your worst enemy? He's like, it's Storm, bro. It's Storm. Because holy crap, it has been absolutely blitzed him. Right now, GunGFu's taking a lot of damage, but as is Wayne. 18 drones fall, but 9 probes as well. And I tell you what, that hive is still alive, Wardy. Like, that hive is still alive. He totally has access to anything like a Great Aspire at this point, which is absolutely insane to me. Like, he's still making Ling high at this point, though, against what he's been doing. Like, he absolutely has made this game so hard for himself.
Yeah. I mean, this has been an absolute challenge. When it shouldn't have been. GunGFu up 1-0 as well, by the way. Don't forget what happened in Game 1. GunGFu is leading this series. Hard to remember when it's been kind of wild here. High Templar storms itself to get rid of the Lings was the good call. He pushed forward. These Immortals will be able to chunk down these couple of spines. The left side of the map definitely being lost control of by Wayne. GunGFu has a good amount of storms here as well. I do not actually think you can fight this as Wayne, because those Hydras and Lings are getting a storm. Don't storm the drones! You're in a very precarious position. I know he's got a lot of storms. I'm just really worried he'd run out if a big fight happened. Here comes Wayne. Apparently he's going to try and fight once the base goes down. Snaps the Observer right there.
And that far left base is attacked by Zerglings, quite a lot of them as well. But the probes are all saved by him in a nice warping of Zealots here. And Wayne, he's getting ready to wrap around this army. Now, remember, both these players, not the best economically, but I'm much preferring GunGFu's situation. But the drone, or rather, that is a lot of Banelings, and oh my goodness, finally a fight that he was looking for. What's he doing? He's move commanding!
Oh my goodness. I mean, the Banelings got on top of so many of the High Templars, so we lost so much. At the same time, I mean, GunGFu has an army top right, so while he lost a lot of his tech units here, it's going to be enough. GG's, GunGFu wins.